Today is December 4th, 2021. I haven't done an update in a really long time, so I'm just going to touch base and kind of fill everyone in, if there's anyone even watching. So, lots of big things. Number one that's coming to mind is a couple weeks ago, Renata and I had been exchanging emails about her stopping by to drop off the keys to my apartment and to pick up the rest of her stuff. I asked her to leave after spending a lot of time with me this summer because her crack addiction was getting a little out of control, and I found her destroying a part of my home and in order to try and clean up after herself. Anyway, after that I was like, I love you, but I'm not living with this. So I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go. So she went and stayed with somebody else who has no problem with her addiction and also has one of their own, and where she could get her drugs more easily. And after about a month or two, I came this exchange about the emails the other day or a week or two ago. And she stopped by the house and said goodbye to me, said that she had bought, I think she said like half a gram, or I don't understand heroin measurements because I've never done it. But she bought 4 times the amount to kill herself and a syringe. And it felt very surreal to have her there saying goodbye to me. For obvious reasons, I'm sure anyone of you who know me and know what I've been struggling with, suicide has been a big issue for me. And so having her come to say goodbye and me offering to stay with her and to help her and to be with her, and her basically saying, I'm done, I've made my decision, it doesn't matter if we spend time together, I'll just leave and go do it anyway, so just say goodbye to me now. And by the way, I need to use your bathroom because I don't want to pee all over myself when I do this. So I did the best that I could in the moment, I think. I mean, there's a level of respect that I have for everyone, and that this is your life. You are the only one who can say when you've had enough. I mean, you have the right to end your story if you want to. I believe that. I'd like to get into why I believe that, because there is an extensive history behind why I have these beliefs that I do, and they blow my mind, and I would like to talk about them. But first I want to do this update, and basically I think she's gone. I held her and I stroked her hair and I told her that I loved her and that she was a good girl, and that if she changed her mind to please come back to me, and that I would be there for her. I am here for her. But the next morning her phone had been disconnected. So I don't know, and I kind of just had this feeling about her, like in a different way, that made me think that maybe she had actually done it. So I'm assuming that she did and that she's gone. And that's fucking crazy, because that she and I were, I mean, just like the same, and she lost or gave up. I don't know what to call this. It's just, it's a mind fuck. It's a mind fuck, because I have not spoken to my daughter or my granddaughter and it's been 2 years. 2 years. And they live less than, probably 5 miles away. They're not that far. But my daughter has cut me out of her life because of my struggle with suicide and all the hospitalizations. 5 hospitalizations in the past few years for suicide related, either suicidal ideation, suicide attempt, suicide watch. Just, it's been really hard. So anyway, I haven't seen either of them, and I haven't seen my sweet Haley, my granddaughter. And apparently she's like a full-on preteen, and the little girl that I last saw, knew, and loved is gone. I don't know who the new person is, which is really bizarre. I haven't spoken to my son, Brian, my first son. If any of you remember the whole thing about my son that I gave up for adoption, I found a few years ago. That's Brian. He and I had spoken the summer before Bastion died, and I had expressed to him my fear for my safety, that I just didn't know how I was going to deal with losing Bastion, the last bastion in my life, the last safe place. I felt like at the time very strongly that was it. Now I have these little flashes where I can see how insulting it might feel to someone that me losing a dog was enough for me to leave them behind, like my kids. Like, what do you mean? The dog died and so you're going to bail on me? I get that now, but in the moment, it didn't matter because they weren't there. They weren't helping me. They didn't know how. They couldn't. It wasn't their job, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I had asked Brian to be there for me. I knew the end was coming, and he had promised me that he would be. And we had plans to even go on a trip to his hometown, later, a few months, after the last time we spoke. And basically, Bastion died, and I didn't hear from Brian. I couldn't get a hold of him. He didn't respond to me. And I got really resentful and upset because I just felt like nobody was there for me. Nobody was there for me. I had asked everyone for help, like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this when this happens. And I need your help. If you love me, please help me. Like, I'm afraid. I asked Caleb. I asked Sarah. I asked my mom. I asked Brian. I asked, everyone in my life to please help me and be there for me when this happens, because I'm scared. And basically, he wasn't there, and Caleb tried to be, but in the end, my honesty about my suicide attempts and the fact that I had bought heroin to kill myself last year. Yeah, my last hospitalization, I found out from an addict how much heroin it would take for me to kill myself, and I purchased that amount and was basically waiting to hear from Social Security after Bastion died. Just, am I going to get the money that I need to survive in a way that I can deal with or not? And if not, I'm out. I've got it ready. I'll sniff it all and I'm gone. I can't do this anymore. I've lost everyone. I've lost my family. I've lost my children. Anyway, I bought that heroin, and I was honest with Caleb about it, and that was too much for him. And he cut me out at that time, said he didn't want to speak to me anymore. So that was everyone: my mom, Sarah, my granddaughter, I don't include my dad because my dad and I really don't have a relationship anyway, so why drag him into this? I know he doesn't want anything to do with it anyway. And, the one time that I reached out to him during a suicide attempt, where I had pretty much gone off the deep end and I needed some help. I needed somebody to help me. And he basically said, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know how I can help you. You're going to have to figure this one out on your own. Now I just don't go to him anymore. There's just, yeah. He did help me after that once. Sort of. I don't know. It's so confusing. My relationship with my dad has always been fucked up, and anyway, so Caleb, and that was, I was not talking to anybody. And then my sister chimed in too and said, just like Caleb and Sarah, and she couldn't deal with it. And so she wasn't going to talk to me anymore either. So basically, from my perspective, I felt that everyone that I loved had left me to die alone. And I don't know how you get over that. And I don't know how you don't change as a result of that. I've changed. I've been sitting with that and knowing that for a year now. That these people that I thought were in my life forever, that I could count on no matter what, these relationships that, I mean, frankly, I guess I just took for granted. I just never imagined that they would be, that they wouldn't be there for me. I just never imagined it. And the fact that it has happened that way has been quite a fucking eye-opener and a shock. But in the end, I now know that I don't need them. I don't need anybody. I want them. I love them. But right now, I'll never forget that they left me to die alone. Never. And that I can't count on anyone but myself. Nobody. I used to think that that fact would kill me. I mean, that's why all this started. I mean, there was a lot of reasons why all this started, a lot of buildup, 5 hospitalizations in the last few years, but there's been 13 total in my lifetime for mental health things. And anyway, I was always afraid of losing my role as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a cherished person in other people's lives. And then I lost that, and I lost my role, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And I lost myself for quite a while. Interestingly enough, during the whole vigil, waiting to find out if my Social Security was going to be approved, disability insurance was going to be approved. Well, I had that heroin and I was waiting to find out, and everyone had freshly bailed. And by that, I mean Caleb and my sister to boot, on top of the other losses. All of a sudden, Adam came home. Not the husband Adam, but my friend Adam of the past 20 years, who's always been a friends with benefits situation that I always wanted to be more because I felt so much potential there. But he does not feel the same way and has been pushing me away love-wise for 20 years off and on. Not the whole time, because I was married in between and we both had other relationships in between, but in the end, we always come right back to each other. And it's always this question for me of, are we going to finally do this or not? And so when he showed up, it was a total surprise to me. I thought he was just coming home for a vacation, and instead he showed up with his vehicle and said, surprise, I moved home. And then all of a sudden I had my friend back, and I had somebody in my life that wasn't going to abandon me, and somebody that I could count on. And so for the past year, we've gotten so close. We've been up and down and up and down, and he's ghosted me, and then I've ghosted him, and it's just been this struggle because he still does not see, a future with me. And I don't know how not to be incredibly insulted by that, as well as baffled, because I know what this is. And he, I've got a long history. I've been loving my whole life, and he has not. From his own admission, love just isn't his ball game, and he doesn't know much about it and hasn't experienced much of it beyond family. Anyway, so we've had this year of intensity and amazingness and really, really high highs and really low lows. But in the end, here I am a year later, and guess what? I don't want to do anymore. Feel the need. I'm not Renata. I'm not about to kill myself. I am a new person. I don't need, somehow in all of this, I don't know what how to explain any of this, but I started with one therapist when I got out of the hospital for the big suicide attempt that started all this off a couple years ago. That I had this one therapist named Tara, and she was everything to me, and I really felt like she had held my hand through some of the darkest times of my life, and that I didn't know if I could get past it without her. But then she had to leave due to COVID, and I got a new counselor, and her name was Lisa. And guess what? A year into it, Lisa had to bail to start her own practice because the COVID restriction, whatever it was, I don't know, but she left. And then I got a new counselor. And so just like life has been slowly teaching me that I don't need anyone in particular but me. And that's been a really weird and hard lesson to learn. I'm really glad that I'm on this side of the lesson, but it still just blows my mind. So Adam is leaving. He said from the moment he got here that he was only going to be here for a year and that he was planning to go to Portland, Oregon and move there. So he's leaving in a couple weeks, and give me the toy. Come here, give it to me. Come on, give me the toy, I'll throw it. Henry, come here. Anyway, he's leaving for a year. I've been hoping that he would, see the value in our union and choose me and decide to stay or ask me to go with him, something, like make some sort of a commitment. Don't you see how good this is? Am I doing this alone? Like, I don't understand. But anyway, he's leaving. Yeah, he told me last night that he thinks he found an apartment. So, see ya, fuckface, super fuckwit, man. Whatever. I don't need to wait